getting ready for Pesach, like we said before, that in Judaism, this whole entire world is a world of preparation. The purpose of this world is preparation. We're preparing for the next world. Yes, everything in this world, we say in Pirkei this world is a vestibule. It's a hallway. The person should prepare in the vestibule to be able to feast in the banquet. But a person knows if he's going to go to going to be a big wedding, and there's a big celebratory dinner, a big dinner, and he's going to be sitting on the dais in front of all the different people. So before he's going to want to go out there, he's going to want to look at himself in the mirror. He's going to check his head. It'll be tough. He sits on everyone's watching him, all the thousands of people, and he sees that someone all looking at him because his hat is crushed in. He didn't get a chance to look at it, or he has like a stain on his tie or something like this. So before he gets out there, everyone's going to be looking at him, so he prepares. So the same thing with this world. This world is preparing for the next world. Yeah, one second. I'll finish my idea. This whole world is a preparation for the next world. We're preparing for the next world. Everything we do in this life is to prepare. We're doing mitzvah. We're saying, I'm storing away. Like if a person is working, and he knows at a certain time he gets to go on vacation, he can come and join us if you like. It's okay. I know you're bigger than us, but you can still join.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay. Welcome. So. A person knows if he's planning for a vacation, so he's going to do everything he can to make sure he's going to work overtime, double overtime. Yes, he's going to get on the Google on the internet, look at all the different places he can stay, the different cars he can rent, the different places they're going to go to. He's going to make preparations. If he's just going to wing it, let's just go there. There was a certain book that was written in the 1960s. I don't want to say the author's name because he turned out to be a big anti-Semite, but the name of the book was On the Road. And the purpose of the book was, I think it was On the Road or something, I can't remember anymore. But I'll tell you later. I just said I wasn't going to say his name. So, I can't go against my word. Okay.
You just said his name, I wouldn't.
Whatever his name was, he became messed up with drugs in his head. So, before he got too messed up with drugs in his head, he wrote a book about people messed up with drugs in their head, and they just got in the car and they just drive. And that's all they do. And they have no purpose, they have no aim, no goal, no nothing. They just drive for the sake of, they don't even know what they're doing. And so they get into all kinds of trouble. It's a big, pathetic and mediocre life and existence because they didn't prepare anything. If a person goes for a job interview, he can just go and wing it and hope for the best. He can come prepared. He finds out who the boss is, what's his favorite sports, what's his favorite hobby, what kind of theater does he like. He comes in prepared. He knows what he's going to speak about when he gets to the boss. My daughter went for an interview to be able to go to a certain camp. She'd be interviewed for it. So I gave her a pointer. I said, when you go to the interview, make sure you ask a lot of questions. Because the person who does the interviewing really doesn't know what to say half the time. So the successful interview is to interview the person who's interviewing you. Why? Because it's preparation. It's prepared. So why is it? Because in this world we're preparing. We're going to go to the next world. That's our eternity. That's going to be what it's going to be set like for the rest of the time. That's what's going to happen to us. So this world is the world of opportunity. This is the world of accomplishment. This is the world of make it or break it. Either you're going to accomplish or you're going to fail. You're going to succeed or you're going to fail. In the next world, they go and they tell you, this is you succeeded here, you didn't succeed here, and this is your decision of what's going to be with you for the rest of your lifetime, the rest of your sort of eternity. And so this lifetime is filled with trepidation. When I get to if a person ever gets called before a judge, it should never happen to anybody. A person gets stopped by a police officer. Yes, you want to say, I wasn't really speeding, I really wasn't this. The police doesn't care. He's just going to arrest you. And if you give him trouble, he'll just make it worse for you. So you have to be quiet, and you have to be arrested and be put into a prison, put in behind bars, and they have to fingerprint you and take your picture and give you a court date, and you have to show up. When you go before the judge, so a person is shaking in his boots. Because another person is going to make a psak, is going to make a decision on your life, and there's nothing you can do about it. So this person who's making a decision on your life, there's one time I wasn't even on trial. they had it was an infamous murder. All murders are infamous. This was an infamous murder. They murdered somebody who was so famous they made a movie about him. And after they made, I'll tell you in a second. After they made a movie about this, I will tell you. After they made a movie about him, the other guy he said I wasn't going to say, but now I will say. But after they made a movie about him, they gunned him down. And the name of the movie was, I forgot the name of the movie, but it was a principal of a New York urban school. It was this person who started the film was Morgan Freeman, I think. Stand By Me or something.
Stand By Me, yeah. I love that movie. I'm trying to find that movie. I can't find it.
Yeah, you can't find. Okay,
it's on YouTube. It's on Netflix.
Okay, so
I love that movie.
When they gunned him down after they made the movie.
They gunned down the actual principal.
Yeah, the actual principal. They killed him.
I did not know that.
The same students who was working his whole entire life to be able to help them, they gunned him down. You know, he used to come out with a big bullhorn and command the students they should go to class.
He's the one wrong with baseball.
Right, whatever he did. But they had guns. He had a baseball, but he had a gun. The bullet was faster. And they gunned him down. So they had they're going to have a trial. But because this was such a, 60 Minutes did a show on him, they did a movie on him, he was pretty famous, and they gunned him down. So they have this rule that if anyone is aware of the person who's on, what they're talking about, you're nogay b'dami, you're subjective, you're not objective anymore, and you can't sit on the jury. Yes? So usually when they are picking a jury, they have to pick 11 people out of 22. They have 22 people out of 22, they choose 11. 11 people. This case was
Sorry, not Stand By Me.
Lean on. Okay, lean, stand, whatever, stand on. Time for me, stand on my head, I don't know. But whatever.
Stand By Me was a book by Stephen King.
Yeah, with
Stand By Me. Stand By Me. Is that the song?
Oh, Lean On Me is also a song.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever it is.
Whatever.
He's still dead, no matter whatever his movie was. He's still dead. But the thing is, this case, usually they choose, out of 22 people, they choose 11 out of 22. Here they had to choose 11, they had 1,500 potential jurors. They had the biggest room in the whole entire courthouse, and they filled it. Every single seat was filled with 1,500 people. They had to choose 11 out of 1,500 because this guy was so famous that everybody knows about the case. They saw the movie. They don't know about him. So the thing is like this: there's 1,500 people there, and they call and get people randomly. So everybody knows they can't choose this guy because they already like the guy. They saw him in the movie. Morgan Freeman, maybe he won an award for it, I don't know. So they can't choose him. So they see the guy sitting in the back with the Gemara. That's me. They're thinking, he's an Orthodox Jew.
You were on the page?
What?
You were on the trial?
I'll tell you in a second. I'm trying to get to that point. I was in the big pool of 1,500 people. And it was a big thing. And everyone made the thing, and everyone went, ooh, and I didn't go, ooh, I don't know what it was. And so I was in the back here with my Gemara. I figured it's perfect, I can learn so much. And, they're calling people up one at a time, each person's getting bopped out of there. I saw the movie, I loved it. Out, next.
I thought the movie was terrible.
Okay, that's out, you're next. If you like the movie, the defendant...
I will give the movie 2.5 stars.
The point is like this: if you like the movie, then the attorney for the defendant bopped you out. If you didn't like the movie, the prosecutor bopped you out. So you can't win. So they said, there's an Orthodox Jew there. Most likely he doesn't watch movies. Yes? He doesn't know anything about this. He doesn't go to public school. He's never been to the Bronx. Yeah, he doesn't watch the Academy Awards. Doesn't know. Okay, no, I think it was in New York. And he doesn't know. He doesn't know who Morgan Freeman is. He doesn't know who he is. So they called me. What was happening was that each person was being called up as they went up before the judge. So everyone was just sitting back there. Any single time someone did anything a little bit funny, 1,500 people exploded in laughter at the person. Why? Because, we learn if you embarrass someone in Rabbi, you embarrass someone publicly, you lose your olam haba. But they don't, they're just used to watching sitcoms of people being made fun of and laughing uproariously at people. So each person was just being laughed at. They were sitting there like they were watching TV until it was their turn to be called up. So I got called up. And I'm saying, oh my gosh, I'm saying, please Hashem, please let me not do anything that will cause these people to explode in laughter at me.
Right.
So I went before the judge, and the judge asked me a few questions. I gave a few answers, so I was able to get through preliminary stage 1. I got from being in the pool of 1,500, actually sitting in the seats with the 11 people of potential jurors. No one laughed at me. I didn't say anything, whatever. Why am I bringing up this story? I wasn't even on trial. I was just being asked questions by a judge. Whatever it is, that's not the point. The point is, we're moving on past the number. The point is that I wasn't even on trial. If they didn't accept me, I'm just going home to have a chicken dinner made by my wife. So I'm not losing anything. Still, Apple Peking, despite all that, in fact, when I was standing in front of the judge, I was nervous. I was scared. And as a judge, and she's like, behind the bench, she has a rope. Who knows, she can, who knows what kind of person she really is, the judge. Could be a very terrible low person, but right now she's the judge, and I shaking in my boots. It's the same thing when a person gets before Hashem, his Bora. When a person goes before Hashem, and Hashem is going to go through every single part of his life, and every thought, and every action, every intention is kavanah by everything that he did in life. You see the Cowardly Lion, the Wizard of Oz. He goes before the Wizard of Oz. He's shaking like this, and he dives through the window. Right? We're going to be 1,000 times worse than that. So the thing is like this. Because this world is a world of preparation. I'm preparing for the next world. I'm racking up mitzvahs. I'm working on myself to make myself a better person. If I have an anger problem, I'm working on anger. If I'm stingy, I'm working on my stinginess. If I'm a person who is depressed, or I give up hope on things, or I give up, I'm a person who works on that. If I'm a person who is judgmental of other people, I'm working against that. I'm working on myself to make myself a better person. So why is that? First of all, I can enjoy life better in this world. The person lives according to the Torah. He doesn't have to wait for the next world. He can say, by living according to the Torah in this world, I will have a better life. I will have a happier life. I will have a more successful life in this world. And then when the person gets to the next world, so then he's going to go before Hashem, and there's going to be a decision. So if a person knows, like for example, I know, unfortunately, the FBI, you agree with me, not agree with me. It just seems to be they're targeting from Jews. Every time they're just finding from Jews. Just one Jew is going down after another. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Different cases, so on and so forth. These people, unbelievable tzaddikim, but righteous people, they spend all their time doing good deeds. The FBI finds one thing this guy does wrong. Mamish, they pound it to the hilt, and the guy's in prison for a number of years. So, and they, because I know how to write, I know how to write. Hashem blessed me with the ability to write. So these people call me up and they ask me to write letters for these people. So the judge, before he makes the sentencing, the night before, before Achish Verish, he couldn't sleep the night before. I'll tell you something. What you're saying is maybe it's true, maybe it's not true. Depends on the judge. Just a person, as a person, unbelievable tzaddik. He's such a good person. Like good doesn't even pertain to him. He's so good. He's now just convicted. He has to sit in prison for 2 years over a mistake that he made, and the whole bunch of letters were written in his behalf. Why was he writing all these letters? Because there was some way to try to influence the judge, not to make the court case so. The real judge is Hashem. So Hashem is the real person. Hashem is the one who really makes the judgment. The human judge is just make believe. But still, what did this person do? And they all do. Everyone did. He did all these mitzvahs. He did all this chesed. He gave so much tzedakah because he's trying to. The one he really has to influence is Hashem Yisborach. He has to influence Hashem. It's not the judge is not a real person. I even said to him, when you look at the judge, he's not real. The judge is not real. He's not a real person. You keep in mind it's really Hashem who's making the decision. It'll go much better for you. So all these letters were written. Why is he doing all this? Because he knows that a time the judge is going to sentence him. So he's doing everything he can. When we get to the next world, this world, we're doing everything we can. When a person gets to the next world, it goes before him all of his mitzvahs, all the good things that he did on the planet. Every good thing that he does creates a malach, creates an angel. And that angel precedes him and goes before him and testifies to his goodness. It's a certain person, you can find it on YouTube, whatever, on the internet, that he was a secular Jew completely. He did all of these, and he had these tremendous seizures, and he ended up dying. And when he died, he went to the next world. And he came back to life, and he tells the story what happened when he was dead. And he goes the whole hour, it's over an hour long, he tells about the whole entire story of what happened to him when he died. And it was an unbelievable trial that was happening. And what would he do? He didn't keep any mitzvahs at all. He did not keep one mitzvah on the planet. The only thing he did was, he decided on his own that before Rosh Hashanah and before Yom Kippur, he would go to people's gravestones and wash off their gravestones. So the people of the graves, he washed off their graves. No one's taking care of it. Took soap and water and he washed it off. Before Rosh Hashanah, before Yom Kippur, every single year. That's the only thing he did. All the people that... I didn't say it wasn't. But I'm saying that's all he did. All the people that were buried in those spots, their neshamas, their souls went up and testified on this person's behalf. That every Rosh Hashanah, every Yom Kippur, he used to come and wash our kibbur. He used to wash our gravestone. And based on that mitzvah alone, he was given a second chance. Hashem, you have to read through the whole thing, but Hashem said that because of that alone, I'm going to bring you. Let me just finish. I'm going to bring you back at the planet Earth, and you became a frum Jew, so on and so forth. He got married, his children now, so on and so forth. So I'm just trying to tell you, we have to go to the next person. Just don't hold on to your idea. Don't forget it. We're going to go to the next world. Yes, we have to make a din v'cheshbon. We have to make an accounting for everything we did on the planet, and nothing's going to be forgotten, and nothing's going to be looked over, and everything's going to be understood as the truth of why you did it, and everything's going to be rewarded, and everything is going to be punished. And Hashem's going to make a decision. So a person understands that he has to, like a person now he has a judge. He knows on December 7th he has to go before this judge. He's going to, before December 7th, he's going to do everything in his power to make sure things come out the way he wants it. Same also by us. Eventually, we have to go to the next world. There's no way out. There's no way out of it. Eventually, I know we have to sit up and come on, lay down too.
Life changing.
Right? So, thank you. So a person has to know, he has to go before he goes to Baruch. And he knows the trial is going to take place. Right now, we have to do everything we can to send as many malachim, every mitzvah you do is sending an angel, a malach, in front of you before you even get to trial. This malach will go before you and say, he did this wonderful thing, he did this great thing, and wouldn't you like that? Like before you even got to trial, and I just want to finish, don't forget what you just said. The judge of my friend, so he went and he said at the sentencing, the whole entire night, he couldn't sleep. He could not sleep because he said he knew this person was a good person. And he said, I know the FBI targeted you. The FBI found out a way to put his wife behind bars. He said, if you confess, he said, we're either going to put your wife behind bars or you can confess. Take your pick. So he said, I'm going to confess. He didn't want his wife to go behind bars. He did something, he made a mistake, and his wife went to hell. Yeah? And so the FBI said, we're going to put your wife behind bars. You can either confess or your wife goes behind bars. Which one are you going to do? So he said he's going to confess. So the judge said, I have to give you a sentence. I know you're a very good person. I know this was a mistake. But since you confessed, I have to give you a sentence. And I was agonizing the whole time. And I made it, before I went to sleep last night, I made up in my mind, I was going to give you 4 years in prison. But I couldn't sleep. St. Aki's brothers couldn't sleep. I went over the letters, and all the letters that people wrote on his behalf. I read all the letters, and he said, I know people from your group, meaning Orthodox Jews. The judge was a black man. I know people from your group are going to say nice things about you. But there was one letter that was written by a person who was not Jewish. And he wrote such a beautiful letter on you, about you. I took that letter, and because of it, I changed my sentence. I'm only going to give you 2 years instead of 4 years. Yes? It wasn't the judge. It was the letter. It wasn't the judge. But also, before that point, he did all these mitzvahs. all the things he was doing, he kept in mind is from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The person has to know that the Mesilas Yesharim says the first thing that the Yetzer gets you to forget, it gets you to forget that there's a next world. When a person forgets there's a next world, he does all kinds of crazy things. When he doesn't think, yes, go ahead. Just give me just 1 second. When he doesn't understand, go ahead. I'm sorry.
That shows like how much power each person is.
Yes, 100%. 100%. You don't know. Each one is a nuclear power plant. And every affair is a nuclear bomb. You know what you want to say? It's history. Okay, would you want to say something? Yes or no?
Elders first.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'd actually hold back to the beginning.
Yeah, okay.
All right. So
Is it what we said or is it something else?
no, it's all connected.
Okay.
All right. So if you're open to a few technical corrections,
Okay.
fine. One is not every time you're pulled over by a cop will you get arrested. Sometimes you're just going to take it.
Okay.
And two, a person does have a say in their own defense. That's part of the legal system in the United States. It's true that a judge will pass sentencing, but you can present evidence, you can have witnesses. We're not. It's not like we have no say. It's not constant instruction.
Yeah.
So that's just that technical point. But even broader than that, you mentioned yesterday that we said, well, yes, there's wisdom amongst the Gentiles, various different skills, but as far as philosophy goes, it's all bankrupt. But in order to come to that conclusion, we'd actually have to go through their philosophies and go through it statement by statement to arrive at that conclusion. It's not enough to just go ahead and say that. Conversely, if you're going to present an ideology from the Torah, the onus is upon you to demonstrate that it's accurate. For example, we know, everybody knows that their lifespan is limited. But what happens at that moment is that meaning, their body will go into the ground. One day a person will die, and if things follow the normal course, their body will go into the ground. But does their consciousness live on? Do you know that?
Can I speak to you honestly? So the answer is like this. To believe in the next world has never been easier than it is right now. And since the 1970s, since the 1970s, there's been 30 million people who have died and come back to life. And each person talks about, myself I know people. Okay, say the numbers.
Can you tell us one example?
Let's say the numbers wrong. I could tell you one example, but I don't want to. It's a very personal thing.
A quick one. You don't have to say the name.
It's someone who's related to me. It's one of my children. One of my children died. Yes. One of my children came back to life. Yes. So, this child was missing. My wife and I said we have to go out and look for the child. We went out. And a half down, I saw the lights of an ambulance come down the road, and I said, we don't have to go any further. An ambulance is for us. The ambulance came down, stopped in front of our house, and my child was inside the ambulance. And the child had died. But they had brought the child back to life.
How long was the death for?
I don't know. That's not the point. And the child said,
because there's no time in the next world, right?
The child went.
You don't tell me.
Can you please?
Personal story. Give me that chance.
And the child went, and I got in the ambulance. There was the child laying in the ambulance. Someone tried to murder the child. Someone went and murdered the child. But Hashem decided the child should come back to life. Someone gave the child something they shouldn't have had on purpose, and the child went to the next world. And the child said that the first thing that the child went and they saw a beautiful light. And the light was completely consumed with love, and it took all of the child's strength not to go towards the light, because the child knew that the child knew that if the child took one step towards, that the child would not be allowed to come back. The child, and it was so attractive, the light, it was so beckoning, and so much love. The child was holding on with all of its strength, and the child said to the light that he or she wants to be a parent. He doesn't want to die. He wants to be a parent. And then, a second. And the child said, the light agreed with the child. And the first thing the child heard was my voice in the ambulance. So,
I didn't know the child out.
Medical,
the
whatever.
child said, so the point is that now we know that what's the soul, what's the neshama, what is it? You know, it's the person's mind. There's the brain and there's the mind. There's two different things. There's the brain. When the person's dead, the brain is just whatever it is, right? And the mind is what goes up to the next world, the person's mind. Yeah? Go ahead.
It's very interesting that people ask about this, and some people don't believe in it. When in reality, you can never explain something that you haven't experienced or you haven't saw. It's like trying to explain to a blind person what green looks like. Or if I ask you what was it like before you were born.
I wouldn't venture to answer that question because I don't know if there was a before I was
Right,
born.
okay, but
Okay.
how do you explain yourself right now?
What do you mean?
Excuse me. Declan. Me.
I know, but
Talk to me.
fine, all of you.
Talk to me.
Right,
Go.
like I said before, like you can't explain to someone something that he hasn't consciously absorbed, you know? So like, and the truth is we were born like this, you know? It's not like, I can't remember anything from before I was born, so how can somebody say, let's say if someone wasn't born and somebody came over and said like, hey, there's something called life, there's a ball, there's not many people living on a ball, you know? It's just nonsense.
Whether it's Jews or it's non-Jews, the people are the thing is that it's further and further, medical science, medicine is able to bring people back to life after dying, after longer and longer amounts of time. Yes? You know, in the 1970s it was much different. Now they can go minutes, 5 minutes, 6 minutes. And the person's dead for 6 minutes.
Usually brain
They can bring, but the thing is, like they said, there's 5 different points of the definition of death. And each of these 5 points, there's no heartbeat, there's no signals to the brain anymore, there's no more breathing. Each point, they brought people back from the dead even after they surpass that point. To the point they get to the point that they're saying that they don't even know what is the point of death. They don't know how and as the time goes on, it's going to go longer and longer and longer. They'll be able to bring people back to life over longer and longer amounts of time. And each person who comes back is telling stories. And each story is not saying anything different than what we learned in the Gemara about what happens in the next world. And nobody's contradicting each other. Yes, go ahead.
All the stories are similar.
And I think you said before that people talk about conversations that they had and experiences that could be like an hour long, and they were only like dead for 5 minutes.
Right. It goes on for a whole entire year. Conversation. There's no time in the next world. Okay. Yeah. So the thing is like this, there is a consciousness. We have.
If I might, unless you want to go.
Okay. Yeah.
If you really want to continue, it's up to you.
I'm here for you. I already believe this stuff. So if there's any problems you have,
Right. So,
go ahead.
so first of all, thank you for sharing that story with me. I appreciate it. Right. At the same time, I still have to give it a critical look. The evidence that you're referring to is not. It's not.
Can I just there's so many books now that are written by doctors who don't believe in God. The first book that was written, The Life After Life, was written in the 1970s. There's been so much documentation. Before we go through this, you should go yourself, get on the internet and just, and you have stories upon stories upon stories upon stories, and books and so on and so forth. And it just goes on and on and on and on and on. There was a girl that I knew. It's a woman I knew. she was a friend. She was a friend of mine. Her brother was my friend, and I made her shidduch, which means I found her husband. They got married. They got married before I became married, and so they invited me over for a Shabbos meal. So that morning I got a call that she, the night before, had a seizure and she was in the emergency room.
Oh.
This girl was a friend of my sister of my friend. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And she had a seizure the night before. And so the Gemara talks about that when a person's about to go to the next world, the Malach HaMavis, the angel of death. You with me over there? Don't forget it's how this stuff over there. The angel of death. Yes, whatever it is. The angel of death appears to the person cloaked in a black cloak with the sword, with the poison dripping at the end of the sword. The person is so shocked by what he sees, it opens his mouth, and the Malach HaMavis, the angel of death, he drops the poison into the person's mouth, and when that he's able to take the person's neshama. Okay? That's what the Gemara says. The Gemara says in the Avodah Zarah. So this girl who she was a Balas Tshuva, she did not grow up in a frum home, she had no knowledge of this Gemara whatsoever. She said the next morning that she had a seizure and she screamed because she saw a black cloaked figure with a sword coming towards her. And she had the seizure because she was terrified of her. Whatever the reason was, the Malach HaMavis decided not to take her. But beyond that, they have to understand that a person there's something that came before him, and there's something that's going to come after him. Our life is temporary. The purpose of this life, this is the only time in which we have Bechira. It's the only time we have free will. It's the only time we have choice. Our choices are either to choose Hashem or not to choose Hashem. That's all what Bechira is. That's all what free will is. That's our test in life. Everything in the world is cloaked. It's a world of choshek. It's a world of darkness. It's a world of sheker. It's a world of lies. We don't see the truth in this world. And so why is that? Because if it's so obvious that I can see Hashem, if it's so obvious I can see everything about HaKadosh Baruch Hu, then there's no challenge in life. Hashem gave me life. Hashem's giving me life. He gave me a face. He gave me skin. He gave me eyesight. I can hear. I can speak. I can think.
I can take this away.
I can enjoy.
Whenever you want.
Who's giving me all these things? It's obvious from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Who's giving me children? Who's giving me a wife? Who decided she wants to share a life with me? A home? Mother, a father, sisters, brothers, a whole community. Who's giving all of this to me? And an ability to appreciate all of this? It's from Hashem. But I didn't do anything to deserve this. So it's a natural thing of I'll do everything I can to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu. But there's a yetzer. So that's easy. That's easy. That's no challenge at all. So Hashem creates a yetzer hara. He creates a world in which there's distractions, there's fake, there's all kinds of mistakes that a person can make. You couldn't put that away? If you had a very big problem, and there was something very serious to you, I would never take out my phone and go like this while you're talking. There's many times you've spoken to me about things that you needed in life. Isn't that true? I never went like this.
But it's not like you're telling me something personally. I'm not doing that. We're learning. And
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
I'm like, oh, you got a message.
All these messages are just, like I said, it's the yetzer hara.
So let me end the conversation.
Okay, just say, go to sleep, leave me alone. My rabbi said, go to sleep. That's it. Done. Stop texting me. Done. It's distracting. So if there's a Hashem who's doing all of this for me, it's just logical, and I've done absolutely nothing to deserve all of this goodness. I can enjoy spaghetti and meatballs. I can enjoy ravioli. I can enjoy a watermelon. I can enjoy colors, flowers, a vacation. All these things are happening for me. Who's doing this for me? It's Hashem. Why is He doing this for me? I've done absolutely nothing for Him. It's logical that everything I should do, I should want to serve Hashem, to do everything I could for HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And my service of Hashem does not benefit Hashem, not even one bit. Come join us.
Benefits us.
It's not going to benefit Hashem whatsoever. When I decide to serve Hashem, it's my friend there. When I decide to serve HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it doesn't benefit Hashem one bit. It benefits me. So it's like they used to have this expression called Catch-22. It was written book by another
I
Meshuvah.
heard that.
He wrote, he wrote a book called Catch-22. What Catch-22 is? No matter where you go, you're in trouble. In the Torah world, Catch-22 was opposite. You know, it's opposite. No matter what you do, you're going to benefit from it. You have a good, you live by the Torah, and you have a good life because you're living by the Torah. And then, because you decide to serve Hashem, because Hashem is giving you so much goodness, you get even a better life. It's a Catch-22 in the opposite. It's good and good and compiled upon good upon good upon good. No matter what you're going to do, it's going to be good. Ain't so fulfilled. There's no end to the good of the world. Everything is eternity. Every single aspect, every single molecule, there's a molecule, there's a cell, there's a molecule, there's atoms, there's protons, neutrons, electrons, I knew that.
Megatron.
Whatever it is, there's quartzes in that. And the quartzes, they say, that inside these protons, electrons, neutrons are just sparks of energy going back and forth at the speed of light, which means there's no reality whatsoever. The only reason why this appears solid to me is because it's going back and forth at the speed of light, and molecules are so infinitesimal. At the speed of light, there's no way that it's not real at all, but there's no way I can, if I could just time it just right, I can just put my hand right through the stable. Because the molecules are going back and forth at the speed of light. There's nothing that's real. This whole entire world is based on make-believe. Hashem Echad. I said this. Okay, whenever it is, you get a bloody head. One of the two. I don't know which one's going to come first. but the point is, the whole entire world is make-believe. It's not real. So what is real? There's a person I was talking this before. That when I was a young, the book that was like very influential to me before I knew any better. It was a book was called Illusions. And the whole book said the whole world is illusion. So I liked it. It had truth in it. The whole world is an illusion. But the point of the book is he never says in the book what is real. Because that part he couldn't figure out. Because if he figured that part out, no one would have bought his book. He wouldn't have published it. Because if you say the world is, as long as you speak sheker, they'll publish it. And speak truth, not going to happen. So he said the whole world is illusions, but he didn't say what is real in that. Hashem Echad. There's only Hashem. The only thing on planet Earth that's real is Hashem. So the only thing that's real is the only thing in the world, the only thing in the world that's true is the Kadosh Baruch Hu. So hence I have to dedicate my life to the only thing that's real in life. A person wants to be a Democrat, he wants to be a liberal, he wants to be a Republican, he wants to run after Trump, he wants to run after whatever it is. You have some boxing, whatever it is. Hello. Yes? All these things are make-believe. People dedicate their lives to make-believe. They dedicate our lives to the only thing that's real, which is Hashem. And Hashem said, the only way you can find me is I'm going to give you an instruction manual. I'm going to give you, I'm going to say, here's you, here's me, here's the world. How do you deal with the world? How do you deal with every single thing in the world? How do I deal with you and you and you? How do I deal with that bookcase over there? Everything is in the Torah. It's not fair that Hashem should put us in the world. There's big tests. Either you're going to be punished, you're going to be rewarded. Yes? You have free will. To choose to do Hashem's will, or choose to go against the Kadosh Baruch Hu. It's your choice. It's not fair. There's a Yetzer Hara out there who's going to try to get you to go astray, to help you go after the good times, what appears to be good times, and fast times, and exciting times, and cruel times. The Nazis were always having a good time. The Nazis were torturing the Jews. They have a picture of a Jew being tortured, the Jews in the foreground, the Nazis in the background, and the Nazis are all laughing. They're all smiling. It was a wonderful time for them. They were having a good time. Yes? What? It was weird. Weird because they say it's exciting. It's wonderful. Even now today, people do the same thing. People do cruel things. They'll do cruel things to people. The whole Hollywood is based on that. The whole slapstick. What is Hollywood? Hollywood is there's a protagonist, there's an antagonist. The protagonist is the guy that we like because the director set up we should like him. The antagonist is the guy we don't like. The director set up that we shouldn't like him. Bad things happen to the antagonist, and we laugh at him. We're being trained that when something bad happens to somebody, the appropriate reaction is to laugh. at that person, to break out in laughter. And that's what people do. Things will happen, accidents will happen, people will get beaten up, people will be in the background. Nowadays it's different. In the old days, people just laugh. Nowadays everyone goes like this and they film it. Help me, save my life. Hold still, wait a minute.
I want people to laugh. I want people to be like, oh my God, I want them to laugh. Like,
You want to laugh?
At least I made them laugh. So,
No, you don't.
like if I trip over
If someone's being cruel to you, you want people in the background to start laughing and enjoying it?
nobody's being cruel.
I didn't say that. I'm saying based on what you said.
So if
Can I speak to him? Okay, you want to know why if you fall on your face and you want everyone to laugh at you, why do we feel that that's an appropriate thing? Because we watch decades of movies and we have a whole society geared. If something embarrassing happens to a person, what do? We break out in laughter towards that person. But Judaism says differently. If we embarrass someone, if we embarrass someone publicly, then a person loses his olam haba. We don't want to embarrass someone. We say that if a person gets embarrassed, humiliated, it's like you're taking his life. It's like you're killing the person. Yes, because when a person's humiliated, he goes white, just like when a person dies. He's mortified. When a person gets embarrassed, humiliated, what is it called? The English word is mortified. What is mortified? It means like mortician. A mortician takes care of dead people, because mortified means you killed the person. Yeah, it's so terrible that a person's been embarrassed. But here, you have comedians that you went to a comedy routine, right? You went to see a comedian. Yes? And the comedian went and he focused on you and embarrassed the heck out of you. And everyone was laughing. Pleasurable. Was it wonderful? No, it wasn't. It was terrible. But he got paid a lot of money to do that. No one said. Even the guy who wrote the check, they made fun of him too. We still wrote the check for the guy and gave it to him. There's a Meshuggah in America. We're crazy people. We're trained to be crazy. A person goes and to humiliate someone, to make fun of someone, to make light of someone, to embarrass someone. You get big bucks if you do that. Yes. So the point is, different things. You have a question now or anything? Because I'm pausing right now.
Oh yeah, what was the writer?
Of which one? Of the
book that the one with the trip.
His name is Jack Kerouac.
Who?
Jack Kerouac. Okay, you didn't know about him. Nobody knows who he is anymore. Except for Bernie Sanders, the only one.
Can you tell us another near-death experience? Maybe someone who got a different one?
It's still anecdotal.
What?
Do you know of anyone who actually got judged and then got sent back?
So the thing is that if you go on YouTube now, there is a person, he has.
There's very few Jewish ones. There's a lot of Christian and Muslim ones.
Okay, but there are Jewish ones too. Even now, the most famous one happened this year on the first day of Sukkot. A 15-year-old boy. I talked about this before. 15-year-old boy came to a rabbi. He was a secular boy from Israel. Didn't know anything about the Torah.
Yeah, I heard that.
He knocked on the yeshiva door. He said he wanted a pair of tzitzis. The rabbi said he saw us from an irreligious home. Why do you want, I'll give you tzitzis gladly, but can you tell me the story? The boy said he died. And he came back to life. And they said, we'll give you back your life only in the schus, in the merit, that you start wearing tzitzis. And so you go and you see his story. He goes a whole different thing, everything that happened to him. And he'll go the whole thing. There's many different stories. And not only that, there are hypnotists that can take people back to previous lifetimes. In which the people
Are you allowed to do that? Is that against the Torah?
I don't know.
I think
I just speak. I think. Whatever. But a person can go back. Can a person go back? I don't know. Maybe. I'd like to try. A person goes back, and the people go and they start speaking languages they never knew, and from a previous lifetime. Yeah. From this, we're going to stop now. Yeah.